Hello everybody, it's Bill's That College Football Guy here with, yes, another video. Okay, what the hell is the ACC Snowball Series? This is the starting video of the ground rules, what we're dealing with here. Okay, the ACC Snowball. What the hell am I talking about here? Okay. One of the worst kept secrets out there, and some people still don't get it. The old analogy goes, everything rolls downhill. Snowball rolls downhill, gets bigger as it goes, and it keeps taking more stuff out as it goes. Well, it's going to be kind of that way with collegiate athletics, isn't it? Because you're looking at having... The snowball means simple things. The Big Ten and the SEC, worst kept secret, are drooling over taking schools out of the ACC. Now, the ACC knows this is coming. There are some ACC fans, a very, very, very small amount, very small, who believe that, no, the ACC is not losing anybody. We're going to rate from the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and come at 2014. No, you're not. No. The ACC doesn't want to get that big. Not even close. If they absolutely positively had to, they'd do it, but preferably, no. I mean, the analogy they've had, I've been hearing over and over again, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What were they before all this started? 14 full members, 15 counting Notre Dame for Olympic sports. Get back to that. Back to basics. And they did that because they added 3 schools. Well, they're at 17 now. Yeah. They added Stanford, Cal, and SMU, preparing for the departures of Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. They weren't dumb. They knew this was coming. They knew it was coming, so they're planning ahead. Which was, now in hindsight, looks absolutely brilliant, doesn't it? They're not getting caught flat-footed. Now, I originally had thought that it was going to get back to those numbers. The problem is, now that we have the story that the ACC is going to go to 9 conference games and they're going to do 10 power opponents, 14 for football isn't going to work. I mean, realistically, they're going to need 16. But it still can work. I'm thinking they go back to 14 full members and you bring in 2 for football only and keep Notre Dame. It'll be 16 for football, 15 for basketball. You get the 2 more that takes care of all the stuff you got to do for the 9 conference game, because 16 and 9 conference games is easy. And you still get to keep your 14 core members, keep your blueprint, and everything else works out fine. So I think that's where we're going. Now, the ACC was planning on losing 3 schools. That put them back to 14. I have said for a while that the Big Ten and the SEC both want to get to 20. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, the SEC has been pushing behind the scenes. As I've said, people thought I was crazy. They don't want Kansas. Yeah, they're pushing to get Kansas. It's been the plan. Because you saw the Kansas-Missouri rivalry, those games going through, how they like to face some of the other, they like to play Oklahoma and Texas again. The idea of playing some of the other schools again. Kansas, North Carolina is a conference game. No little things there. They're trying to push that way. But if they don't, they can't get Kansas because of the Big 12 grant of rights or whatever the hell is going on. There's supposedly that 99 years. Scotty B, the Baylor King. I know you're watching this video because I know you watch them all, and I thank you so very, very much for that. How long is the damn grant of rights with the Big 12? 1 year, 5 years, ends in 2031, ends in 2931. What the hell's going on? Please elaborate in the comments section. Mr. Big 12 there. Elaborate, because we all would like to know. Now, as for they want Kansas, they may not get Kansas. They may be looking, the SEC may be looking at getting, I think, because they said, oh, well, they go to 20, they go to 18. The idea proposed that I've been talking about for a while of having 20 schools in each conference and having 1 non-con game a year, being the SEC against the Big Ten. First, based on the previous year's standings. 1 plays 1, 2 plays 2, 3 plays 3, 4 plays 4, 5 plays 5. All the way down to 20 playing 20. Competitive non-con games with ESPN, Fox, and everybody is drooling over because they know they're going to make money off of it. They know, oh, that's a great way to make money. And we're going to have, no matter which side you're on, you're going to get 10 of those games. You're going to get 10 of them. So, drooling about what's going on, about this, I should say, drooling about the possibility of getting this going on. That's what they're focused on here. So, they're looking at getting that. So, there's a possibility the ACC could lose 6 schools. Now, the snowball is What will the ACC do once the Big Ten and the SEC get done with doing whatever the hell they're doing? Whether they're rating the ACC, rating the Big 12, combination of both, but whatever. Once that's done, and the ACC knows how many members they're down, what are they going to do? And depending upon how severe it is, on there. The reason I'm calling this a series because there's multiple scenarios. There's a scenario where a possibility that the Big Ten and the SEC only take 2 each. I'm not hearing that. I'm still hearing 4. But that's a possibility. There's a possibility if this goes to the 4 schools, all 4 from the ACC. It could be 3 from the ACC, 1 from the Big 12. It could be all 6 from the ACC. It could be 5 from the ACC and 1 from the Big 12. There's a lot of possibilities. Then there's the possibility in the series. Everything's status quo. Nobody goes because of the money situation in 2031 up until 2036. Nobody goes from the Big 12 to the ACC or the ACC to the Big 12. There's a scenario where Big 12 schools go to the ACC. There's a scenario where the ACC schools go to the Big 12. There's a lot of moving parts here. So I'm going to do a scenario in the series is going through each different possibility as something that's happened. If you've got a different idea, let me know about it in the comments, and I could do a video on it. But that's going to be the Snowball Series of what this is, because it's all going to roll downhill. I think, okay, what the ACC does. The problem is the ACC say takes schools from the American. Well, the American takes schools from where? And what does that conference do who just got rated by the American? What do they do? The Snowball. It all rolls downhill. That's where we're all getting to on this. So, and the fact is I want to set up the ground rules because there's a couple things that need to be done here. This is accounting for a couple of things already happening. One, I do not believe, and I put a video out on this because when I talked about a football only for the Pac-12. I do not see them going 7 conference games all the way up until 2031. It makes 0 sense because if you want to be put on the same level playing field, but you're playing fewer conference games, people troll the SEC for playing less than the Big Ten. You're playing 1 less than everybody else. You can't even do 8 conference games. You're considered less than conference, which means most likely you're going to have to go undefeated to get the CFP spot. That's not going to work. That's not feasible. And because of the fact that they're playing 10 A4 opponents, your opportunities to play, like Oregon and State and Washington State can have the Apple Cup and the Civil War, but everybody else, like a Boise State who played Oregon, Notre Dame, those games may not be there. And now, what do you do? It makes things a little bit harder. So, conference games on level ground makes your schedule look better. So I'm expecting the Pac-12 to add a football-only member, possibly a full member. I doubt it, but a football-only member. By the way, the reason why I'm having this is the guy was just leaving now. I had a guy who was sitting over here who was just, every single time I started doing rehearsal of the video, he kept looking in the camera right here going, like, dude, I'm trying to record. So I had to put the curtain up finally again. And finally when the curtain came up, he stopped doing it. He was usually going out here in the front of the window trying to do stuff too. People are bored. Anyway, I figure that's going to be happening. I'm figuring also planning on the scenario is I'm expecting the Mountain West to add UC Davis as a full member 2029-2030 season when their football stadium is done. I'm expecting North Dakota State as a football only shortly thereafter, probably 2030-31 season. They'll come in the year after UC Davis does. I'm expecting that to happen. I'm expecting Tarleton State and McNeese to both become new members of Conference USA. And I'm going to be doing about a separate video on that one coming up, which is going to be about what I think is going to be happening with some of those schools, Tarleton in particular, as well as some schools who are juggernauts in Division II that may be moving up to FCS and possibly could be FBS Conference USA by 2036. So that's on the books and potentially happening. Now, so there's certain givens. Like I'm expecting the Pac-12 to add somebody. I'm expecting Louisiana to be it. There's a lot of people say we don't want to get in there, and so I've had fans saying Southern Miss and whatnot. Pac-12 wants brands. Louisiana is known as a brand, a G5 brand. They have had success winning 10-game seasons and going to major and doing the bowl games and doing stuff like this. Win percentages don't matter. Ratings, brand name does. I did the whole video on Louisiana. Some people are saying other schools can be coming in. I don't see anybody from the American coming in because I don't see anybody leaving. And I'm going to do another video on that, explaining why about that. I don't see any American leaving, join the Pac-12. I expect them to add some. They're expecting to add somebody, probably from the Sun Belt, because nobody from Conference USA is good enough. I don't see them swiping Toledo. The Mountain West, there's too many legal problems. I don't see that happening before 2032. And then, in Conference USA, so that leaves the American out of the way. That leaves the Sun Belt. So I expect them to add somebody from there, and the Sun Belt will backfill back. Depends on who we add, and that's where the other smaller one's going to be, is if they add a Louisiana, do they go west to convince Sam Houston State to leave Conference USA to come in and they have a Texas school again? Or are they going to shift somebody from the East Division to the West Division, because the Sun Belt still does divisions, folks, and bring in an Ohio from the MAC to fill a spot? So that's potentially what's going on here. I have Ohio coming in, Miami, Ohio potentially also as well if they lost another school, like I say, ULM, win FCS. I don't know what they're doing, but there's a lot of G5s. I'm still expecting Sam Houston State 2031-32 to leave Conference USA and go to the Sun Belt. I'm expecting it. But that's certain things you think are going to happen. That's kind of the ground rules here. We can work and discuss the ground rules and what do you think is going to happen, but I don't see the Pac-12 doing 7 games. They're going to add somebody. Football, I doubt a full member. It's going to be a football only. So if the American, nobody's going to move because of money, because a lot of these schools want to go to the ACC and they may have to leave in 2030. Pac-12 leaves in 2031. So, or I'll leave a little thing on here. Well, say they don't. They go in 2031. They go to the ACC. That could be the Pac-12. The problem is that $10 million means you have to give 27 months notice. So the earliest they could be in the Pac-12 would be July 1st, 2028. 2028. So you're going to be in a conference for 2 years and pay $10 million in exit fees? And if the ACC wants sooner, before 2031, you're going to pay an additional $30 million on top of that? Nobody's making that move until the ACC gets done. Now, once the ACC does its first round, 2031, then you'll see the G5 opening up. But everybody's pretty much on pause, and the Pac-12 leadership knows they're on pause. Get one more, get their 8 conference games, work together, build together, because they still got, basically, it's almost like a new conference. You're going to broke out the logistics and all the travel situations and hotels and everything else and all the little working things you have to do with the conference to get everybody used to each other. Okay, do this, not this. That comes with growing pains. That's what the next few years are going to be for the Pac-12, growing pains. Mountain West, same position. So I don't expect anything. But the ground rules is basically you have certain things we think are going to happen prior to the ACC having its moves. And I expect that to be 2030 to 2032. 2030 is when the people will formally leave. 2030 is the year that the Big Ten's media deal starts new, and 2032 is the year the SEC deal starts new. Schools could be announcing 2028, 2029, most likely 2029 at the latest, if they want to go to the Big Ten. So that presents other issues. So what do they do here? So that's, like I said, that's the snowball, is basically all of this stuff. Sorry, I just pulled in next to me. All this stuff happens prior to the ACC making its moves, because there's a little stuff in the G5 it's got to get ironed out. And then the ACC is going to have its event's going to happen. They're going to get attacked by the Big Ten and the SEC. There's a lot of possibilities here. It could be up to worst case doomsday scenario. It could be 10 schools. That's worst case. Do I think it's going to happen personally? No, I don't. But it's a possible scenario. And this is basically, this series, the Snowball Series, is basically what could happen. All scenarios. Because, like I said, there's a possibility of, the Big Ten takes 2 and the ACC and SEC only takes 2. It completely defeats the purpose of that scheduling agreement for 20 schools, but, because they're talking about Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, and since Virginia is no longer on the books, that they can't get Kansas, we're talking Virginia Tech. It's still 4 to get to 20. So there's a lot of things that are on the table. And that's But I'm expecting, and the ACC themselves are expecting schools to leave. How many is still unsure. We don't know until it happens. That's what the series is going to be about, is going through the scenarios. What could possibly happen? Because this is going to be a major shift in collegiate athletics, because once this gets done, and the ACC makes its moves, and then after that, this basically could be a G5 reset, where people are going to be leaving conferences all over the place, and to try to consolidate the best they can. Is it going to be based on money? Is it going to be based on geography? Combination of both? Nobody knows for sure what that's going to be, because nobody knows for sure who's going to be leaving. Because if the ACC only loses the minimum, and they end up somehow only losing 3 schools, I doubt it happening, but say they somehow only lose 3 schools, which would be the big ACC taking 2 and the Big Ten, the Big Ten taking 2 and the SEC taking 1 plus Kansas. They would have their 3 replacements. They'd be done. Maybe add Army, Navy as football only to get up to 16, and they're set. But, or worse, it could be other situations that happen there with more schools coming out. We don't know. But there are a lot of possibilities. So I'm going to go through in this series all of the possibilities, just trying to let you know. You see ACC Snowball Series, and you're to see like ACC Snowball Series, SEC Big Ten takes 6 schools. Snowball Series, SEC Big Ten take 5 from the ACC and 1 from the Big 12. Because that poses a scenario where if the Big 12 can't get anybody from the ACC, where they call up Memphis about that zero money deal and get them to come in to be the 16th member. Something to think about. There's a lot of possibilities here. So I just want to let you, this is basically a little bit of an introduction of what this is going to be. And also, ideas from you on what you think is going to happen. Now, unless something crazy happens, I see Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina leaving. If any one of them stays, I'll be stunned. But it's a possibility. Miami is a strong possibility of staying if the Big Ten doesn't grab them, because the SEC doesn't want them. So, obviously said that the Big Ten grabbed Miami, the most Big Ten thing ever, because that means you'd have your student athletes in the Olympic sports that were in Miami, or go Miami to Piscataway, New Jersey. Excuse me, we're in backwards. Miami to Piscataway, New Jersey, to Seattle, Washington, to Los Angeles, California, and back. Does it make any damn sense? Now, I would love the idea if it was a football only and we actually went back to regional conferences. I would love that idea, but unfortunately, I just don't see it. Too much greed involved at this point. There'd have to be more money involved that'd be financially beneficial to not do it. The problem is I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. But I've done enough yapping. Let me know what you think about the ground rules down in the comments. So again, thanks everybody for watching. If you haven't done already, do me a favor. Smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Helps the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. Like I said, this is about what's going to happen. So, a couple of questions for you to answer in the comments. One, G5-wise, because Pac-12 needs to get an 8th member. 8th football playing member. They need to get one. Going 7 the entire way doesn't work. Because somebody brought up in the comments, well, the Mountain West had 7 members. Yeah, and the G5 wasn't eligible for when that Mountain West had 7 members, there was no playoff. It was the top 2 teams in BCS battling for the national championship when the Mountain West had 7 members, had a 7 conference game schedule. So it didn't matter then, because they weren't battling for the national championship, didn't have any kind of a shot legitimately the national championship. Now it does. So you've got to have 8. So what do you think? Because I'm thinking Davis will come in as a full member, because if certain things happens, UNLV and Air Force could potentially leave in 2032, depending upon how things go. It could be just one, could be both, could be neither. It's possible that other schools maybe leave within the conference, maybe leaving, that are not even on the radar right now. For simplicity purposes, it may be happening. What do you think about that? What do you think those moves are going to be? Like I said, I think Tarleton and them are going to go FCS, go to Conference USA and build up, and maybe in 2032, when they've established themselves in Conference USA for a little bit, the Mountain West may be paying Tarleton State a call. Plus, the costs will be cheaper at that point too, because the buyout for the Conference USA is what, half it is for going to FCS. I know. Well, anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Share the video if you want to. Haven't done it already, do me a favor. Share some other videos that I've done. If you like them, hey, subscribe to the channel. Really would appreciate it on the road to 2K. Try to make some magic happen. So again, thanks everybody for watching. Whoever's having a great day. Be safe and please be good to each other.